Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Diana Yoakley, and I'm here with Lauren. Lauren, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lauren. I'm from Positively Parenting. I'm a peaceful parent coach, and I also specialise in ADHD. And I'm just going to figure out how to connect this to my Instagram because it's telling me to do something. So just give me a sec while you introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. It looks like it's live on my side too on your Instagram, but welcome everybody. So thanks for joining us really quickly. Today we wanted to just do a quick sneak peek, 15 minutes live on our upcoming masterclass. So we have a class coming up next week on Monday, January 22nd. And this is our masterclass on the 3 secrets of peaceful parenting when you have ADHD as the parent. And so we're really excited. We partnered up on this masterclass, Lauren and I, because we're really passionate about peaceful parenting, and we wanted to reach out to our audience and clients out there that have ADHD or suspect they might have ADHD or even have children with ADHD, to give you some tools and strategies that are within the framework of peaceful, respectful, conscious parenting that you can start implementing right away and start seeing results in your home related to managing some of these things that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's sort of the idea came from a conversation between Diana and myself just around how challenging being a peaceful parent is when you have ADHD, particularly if you've got a kind of nervous system which is kind of set where you're kind of just close to the edge all the time. You know, you go from 0 to 100 in a flash. You're probably not at 0 to begin with, and it can be much harder for us to root ourselves down, to, as Dr. Laura Markham would say, to stop, drop and breathe. It's how do you find that pause button to stop yourself from reacting in a way that is a learned response from childhood, because growing up with ADHD is really hard. And the other thing that I think is a double challenge for parents who have ADHD, and I speak from personal experience, is that 50% of our offspring at least are going to have ADHD as well, and probably some other comorbidities. So the children that we're raising are likely to be children who need slightly more skillful approaches to parenting. We can't just get away with, just parenting by instinct, because actually a lot of our instincts they're not necessarily natural instincts. They're what we've learned as children and how we were raised, which may have been wonderful, but if you have ADHD, it's very likely that your parents didn't fully understand how to raise you in a way that's going to build your self-esteem, that you're going to feel good about yourself, and that you're not going to spend your whole life masking so you fit into a society that's not easy for somebody with executive function challenges. And Diana, gosh, my brain has gone, Diana, because I saw you trying to speak and I'm going, I've spoken too much. And that's
it's good. I would love to add a little bit more to that. I was going to say that when in peaceful parenting, one of the big ideas is that we actually role model for our children what it should look like to be, respond versus react. And especially if our child does tend to also have ADHD or other predispositions, it's really important to role model that skill. Children don't learn when we tell them things 10 times. They learn best by just watching us do it. And so what better way to support them in gaining the skills of self-regulation themselves and staying calm during challenging situations themselves than by showing up that way ourselves. But again, we have to learn that first. We have to master it before we can teach it to our kids. And I love what you said about the instinct. Some of our instincts sometimes are to lash out, and that's not necessarily helpful for our children, right? So instinct is really just this immediate reaction and response to a stimulus, but not necessarily in a way that we would want to show up as a parent for raising resilient children, right? So while nobody's perfect, everybody loses it sometimes. We want to show up more peaceful, more often. It's a progress, it's a progression, a growth mindset. And yeah, were you gonna say self-compassion?
Yeah, so I was gonna say that one of the tools that I've discovered is really, really powerful, and something that Dajana is a complete expert in, is this idea of self-compassion. Because in fact, everybody I've ever spoken to who has ADHD has or carries a huge amount of shame with them. It might even be so much so that they don't recognize how they're speaking to themselves, because there's another voice which is trying to protect them, which might be saying something else and making it okay. And there can be so many different voices, that it can become very confusing to actually know where you are with things. And self-compassion is the antidote to shame, and that, I think, is what every ADHD parent needs in order to find some stillness, to find some way to get to that pause button.
Yeah, I love that. And so in the masterclass, we're going to go deep into the power of self-compassion. Self-compassion is a research-backed way of relating to yourself with compassion, which doesn't always necessarily come as kind of an innate trait. A couple other things we're going to cover in the masterclass include understanding your ADHD nervous system in relation to peaceful parenting. So often we take, our child's overwhelming behavior personally, or we kind of blame or shame ourselves for responding the way we do in stressful situations. But if we could understand the science of nervous system biology and how anybody in your circumstances with your nervous system would have responded the same way, because it's actually just a very, like we talked about, instinctive animal mammalian response. Even though it's not ideal in that situation, you can kind of depersonalize it, that it's not something that you're doing because you just can't get it together, right? So when we learn about kind of the nervous system biology, it starts to really take away some of that layer of shame, understanding kind of what's underneath our responses. And we're also going to talk about rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria, and feelings of shame, self-compassion as an antidote to shame, as Lauren said, managing ADHD burnout. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think as an ADHD parent, I mean, as anyone who is a parent will know, parenting itself is a very overwhelming thing to do. And you go through your normal life and then suddenly you've got people to look after as well. Now, if you have executive functioning challenges, that means that lots and lots of things in your life are already really hard for you, and you're already having to work double as hard as anyone else to get out the door on time, to get to work on time, to remember to buy food, to remember to cook food, to remember to drink water. There's all sorts of things that can be really challenging, and those things will be different for every person. And suddenly you have a child, and you have to do all of those things for yourself and for your child. And the way that our society is set up, if you're a mum, probably for your husband as well. And then you bring on another child, and potentially another child, and then another child. And there's so many different executive function systems that you have to manage. And you might have a job at the same time. You might have all these other things that you're trying to do. And suddenly there's just so much to think about. And that can be extremely overwhelming. And what we know is that we need to look after ourselves in order to fill our own cups, to use that analogy, so that we can fill our children's cups. We cannot be patient. We cannot be good, kind, loving, connected parents if we're emotionally drained ourselves. We've got nothing to give. And that is something I think is so key to preventing ADHD burnout, is to understand what you need as an individual to meet your needs, what your needs are, what your nervous system needs are, what it feels like, what it looks like for you when you're becoming dysregulated, when your cup is emptying. What do you need to fill that up? And what are the signs that it is emptying and that you need to do something for yourself? And having a regular practice, regular schedules, routines that ensure that you keep topping yourself up, so that you're not just allowing yourself to become depleted. Because especially as mums, we just give sometimes, and become really depleted. So that is something I'm really, really passionate about, is supporting parents to not get to that stage, or if they're in that stage, to recognize how to crawl their way out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you're talking about there is also what we're going to talk about, which is building your own ADHD parenting toolbox. Everybody has different things that work for them. Sometimes, meditation is a great place to start. And other times it's more of like a exercise, like daily movement of your body, or, finding a group of friends that you feel like you can kind of call upon, like a listening partner or other kind of resource. So it just depends on kind of what works best for you at this time in your life. And so we want to work with you and give you lots of different ideas and tools. And you can kind of pick out which tools you want to put in your toolbox that work for you, that are effective for supporting you in your peaceful parenting, kind of your ADHD parenting toolbox. And then one of the last things, did you want to elaborate more on that, or?
I was going to say something, and you know what? It's just completely gone. And in the interest of speaking to people with ADHD, it's completely normal, and I'm not going to deny it. So carry on, Diana, and I'll come back to it.
No problem. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Okay, so I was going to highlight another thing we're going to really highlight here is, in peaceful parenting, we always want to think about what are our child's needs. What is the need driving my child's behavior? And so in relation to that, we always have to kind of look at what else is in their environment that's creating a need or not meeting a need. And so one of the things in their environment regularly is ourselves, right? We as the parents, we spend some of the most time with our kids. And so the impact of our nervous system on parenting our child and on their own child development, right? Like, so how are we impacting their nervous system? Children, 0 to 5 years of age, that's like where the greatest development of their brain happens and their nervous system. And then again, it rewires at age 6 and 12 and through the teen years, again, like massive growth. And so again, lots of opportunities. And even into adulthood, we know that due to the power of neuroplasticity, our brains can actually change how reactive we are, how patient we are, how calm we are. So it's never too late for you or for your child. But again, we want to start out with the basics of like, how does one nervous system impact another, and how can we show up more peacefully so that our nervous system is that safe, secure, supportive, compassionate place for our children when theirs is kind of running on overdrive and in need of some reassurance and calming down.
And that has reminded me of what I was going to say, which was, I can just hear I'm actually seeing them. We've got some people on Instagram who've joined. So hi Ella, hi Heart and Soul Counselling, and hi Send Support Family. If you've got any questions, do chuck them in the comments and we'll get to them. But what I was going to say is I know how scary the word meditation can sound to people with ADHD. I was terrified of meditating. And in fact, I spent I've got Sophia as well. Hi, Sophia. I had about a year of trying to meditate and finding it extremely difficult. But I sort of pushed through with very short meditations. And I have since experienced a really, really fundamental shift in how I get to calm. And that is neuroplasticity. That's me rewiring my brain so that I can now get to calm. And that has been really, really fundamental to me. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's certain meditations that I find really, really difficult. And there's certain meditations that I love. And I've had to find my own ones. But Diana is one of the people whose meditations are just out of this world amazing for me, for my brain. And she will be sharing some of them as part of our expansion pack. And there's also an amazing shame meditation, which she's selling at a sort of really cheap price as to sort of bolster onto the ticket. So if anyone's interested in meditation, send me a message. I'm really happy to sort of talk through how I went into it if you struggle with it and you want to do it. And we can also talk about it on the call, because we're going to have a Q&A at the end of our masterclass.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to highlight also some of the bonuses that we're including in this masterclass. So we're going to have a workbook, The Secrets to Peaceful Parenting When You Have ADHD workbook. That's going to include, it's going to be a companion to the masterclass. So it's going to have like reflective questions, exercises. This is some of the best ways to really help rewire your brain, is to activate your observer state of your mind, which happens when you're journaling. You activate your prefrontal cortex, which again, kind of pulls you back into the present moment. So you aren't subconsciously kind of lost in your reactivity. And then our Peaceful Parenting expansion pack is going to include some bite-sized meditations crafted specifically for parents with ADHD. So again, what Lauren's talking about, it's, you know, it's bite-sized and it's attention grabbing, and it keeps you there for just enough time so that you can absorb this content in an effective way, using the power of self-compassion, again, which is backed by research, Dr. Kristen Neff, Dr. Christopher Germer, including some of the science in our masterclass on that. And then the video training, access to our exclusive video training. These are also, again, bite-sized, which I know is key. Busy parents, you've got kids pulling on you, you know, constantly, probably like the rest of us. And so we want to make sure that this is really easy for you to consume. These videos are here for you to build practical skills in peaceful parenting. So, you know, we go through like elements of how do you connect with your child? How do you emotion coach your child? How do you implement kind of these preventative maintenance tools? And really action-packed with insights on practically applying these in your day-to-day.
Yeah, and they all come with PDFs as well. So when you go away from the video, you can print out your PDF, stick it on the fridge, and it's going to remind you of all the key points. So it's kind of there, and it's going into your brain in a different way as well, which again is really helpful for an ADHD brain to have that kind of visual reminder.
Yeah.
My phone.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, put them in the comments. And if you can check Instagram, Lauren, I don't have mine up here, but if there's any comments in there.
No,
but otherwise, yeah, I was just going to reiterate, January 22nd, 1 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. GMT. You have to pre-register for the course. It's not going to be live. So you have to pre-register and subscribe, and then you'll get a link in your inbox. And early bird pricing expires on the 17th, 2 more days until you can get $5 off the regular price. So after the 17th, the price will go up to $32. Right now it's at $27. So join us if this applies to you. Yeah.
I was just going to say £21 for UK people.
Yes, the conversion rate. So if this sounds like, you know, sounds like something that you're struggling with, we'd love to help support you in this, again, 60-minute masterclass, 30-minute Q&A, lots of resources. And yeah, we hope to see you there. Anything else you wanted to add?
I was just going to add, I know there's a few people who've contacted me about not being able to make it live because, of course, it's bedtime. It's really hard to find a time, it turns out, when it works for UK and US, but we have found a time. And I hope some of you can come and have someone else put your kids to bed or work around that in some way. If you can't, and this sounds like something you can't miss, there will be a replay. And I haven't actually spoken to Diana about this, but I'm hoping she's going to be okay with it, that we maybe will accept a few pre-submitted questions if there's things that you really want to ask. And you're not able to be there in person, and then you should be able to get as much out of it, even if you can't show up yourself. Although,
for sure, yeah.
In terms of you know, making sure you actually do it and implement it and do the work with us as we go through the masterclass, if you can make it in person, I think it will be much better for you.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Excited to see you there. If you have any other questions, reach out to us. Otherwise, check out the link in our comments and our bios, and we hope to see you there. Thanks so much.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.